Hi, I'm Melty Muse and welcome back to another video. So recently I got a couple new art supplies and I wanted to make a video showing what I got. So starting off with these Pentel Energel gel pens, I absolutely love them so much and I wanted some colored ones because I wanted to just do some pen drawings whilst I was away. And these are just so amazing to draw with and to write with. I've been using these in my journal as well, and they're just so smooth and so good. The quality is just awesome, and they're pretty affordable too. I also ordered this Montmartre pink acrylic paint because I wanted something fun for like my fish drawings because I've been using canvases and I think this would be just a lovely color to have for the background of the fish. Now for the most exciting thing that I bought, and that was this set of 24 acrylic gouache paints. I have used these like twice now and I love them. They are so incredible. They are like the best paints I've ever used and I'll be buying them again once they run out. Now for something a little more basic, I got this Kuratoga Uni mechanical pencil, and the fun thing about this is that every time that you use it, the lead rotates so that it goes into like a fine point. Now I used to have one of these when I was younger and I was obsessed with it, but sadly it broke. Now at the same time as buying the pencil, I also bought this really like cheap A5 sketchbook. I believe that it has around 400 pages and the paper is really thin, so I wouldn't use anything like paint on it, but I think I'm gonna try using alcohol markers. But yeah, I really like how the pencil feels on this paper. It just like glides so smoothly. So this is definitely going to be for like quick sketches. I think this might also be my ideas book as well, where I map out thumbnails and just ideas for YouTube videos. I was so excited to use this new sketchbook that I just started drawing in it straight away. So I hope that you like this little demo. Up next, I got a Stay Wet palette. Now, this is by Nick Pro, and I believe it is for miniature paintings, but this serves perfectly for what I want to do as well. So I got this because I really liked the different compartments, and it was so well presented, and it also came with paintbrushes, which interested me. And it also came with this little paintbrush holder, which is actually really handy because I keep thinking about making one out of clay, but I just never get round to doing it because I feel like I'm just worried about wasting the clay on it. But anyway, here are the paintbrushes. There are 8 fine liners and then 3 dry painting brushes, which I really want to use because they are so soft and I feel like they'd be very useful for when it comes to blending because they've got that like denseness to them. I will say I have noticed shedding of the bristles, but what can you do? Anyway, now it's time for the painting. You're gonna see just how amazing these acrylic gouache paints are. I decided to draw Noibat and Applin, but with my own little twist, so they're not 100% accurate to the original Pokémon, but they are still recognizable. I am also using the Stay Wet palette because I really don't want to waste any of these paints because they're just so precious to me. Now, for those of you that do not know what a Stay Wet palette is, it is basically a paint palette designed to keep your paints wet and keep them from drying out for extended periods of time. So they're pretty handy if you are working on a painting that is requiring more time than usual. This is like the perfect thing for that kind of project, because they stay nice and wet for a couple days. I believe that you can make your own stay wet palette from home by just using like some paper towels and parchment paper, and make sure that it's like in a pretty tightly sealed container. So I didn't know that before I bought it, but it is what it is. But I also had used the palette before making this video, so I can confirm that the paints did stay wet for like at least 2 days. So I'm really happy that I did commit to buying one of these, because I think I'm going to be using it so very often. Back to the painting, I mixed a bunch of different purples to be able to create Noibat. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't know, I feel like I'm usually really bad at mixing colors, but these were just, I guess because it was just like one color with different like shades. It just looked really good, so I was really happy with it. So thank you, Noibat, for having a pretty simple color palette. I will say I really love how I drew Noibat. I think I made her look so sassy and like a diva. I want to talk about the paints again because wow, the coverage is just absolutely beautiful. These are so satisfying to use because of the opacity of them. They're at 100% all the time. And I will say, before mixing them, the colors in the tubes are already so saturated and so lovely. It is just, they're such a pleasure to work with. And despite only using them like twice before, they are becoming like one of my favorite supplies already because they're just so awesome. I will say that they were a little bit more on the pricier side, but it was definitely worth it because just look at the quality of them. They're so lovely. For this darker shade of like blue/purple, I did mix like this navy blue and the previous purple that I had been using for the rest of Noibat, and it just created this really beautiful dark color, and it's just so gorgeous. Because I didn't really want to use black on Noibat because I just thought it wouldn't look that great with the colors, the purples that I had chosen. So I wanted to go for like this darker blue, and I think it turned out gorgeous. So I really think that I was just on a roll with how I was choosing the colors. So I'm pretty proud of myself. Also, because of just how amazing these paints are, I didn't actually want to add any line art because I just thought it looked so nice like this. It just didn't need the line art because it was already kind of like finished in its own way. Also, I must apologize for the background noise. I can't help it. It's ongoing and there is like no better time to be recording this. So I am very sorry if it's distracting or annoying. Moving on, another thing that I forgot to mention was just how like flat that these paints dry. Like, look at the dried parts of this painting. It is so smooth and so lovely. Painting Applin was so much fun because I've not actually drawn this Pokemon before, despite actually really liking it. And at first I thought about making it like a poison apple or like some kind of like goopy kind of slime apple. But then I was like, nah, that would be too much of a change and this Pokemon would become kind of unrecognizable at that point. So what I did was just made him a bit more like flowy. So you know how Applin usually has like the spiky bits at the bottom of the actual apple itself? I made it smooth instead. And I just made it look a bit like wavy, and I added an extra color to him because I wanted to give a little bit of a gradient without it actually being a gradient. and I was so super happy with how it turned out because I just thought it looked so lovely. But I do want to revisit like the poison apple kind of thing another time. Could be something that I do for another video where I change the typing of the Pokemon. So instead of Applin being like grass type, it could be poison type, and that would link to the poison apple thing. I think that could be super fun and something that I put in my idea book perhaps. Honestly, looking back at this footage, it feels so therapeutic because I just love watching like the paint strokes. It feels so satisfying, and I hope that you guys also think that. Or maybe it's boring, I don't know. I do fear that it might be a bit boring because I did include a lot of footage of me painting Noibat, so maybe that was a bit frustrating, but hopefully it's satisfying. Because we are nearing the end of the video, I just wanted to quickly mention that my commissions are open and that you can find them by looking in the description, as I always add a link. It is through my Ko-fi. So if you are interested in that, do check out the link in the description. Now, as we're done with the 2 Pokemon, I need to do the background, and I wanted to use the pink acrylic paint, but I'm gonna be honest, I think I deeply regret using it, as it just did not look good in contrast to the Pokemon and their colors, and I wish I could take it back, I really do, but it was really satisfying to do either way. But if I could go back in time and change it, I would I don't know, I would do something a little more mellow because it did not look good. And then I think I ruined it further by adding the stars. I can't tell, I really can't tell, but I'm just not happy with the background. I love the Pokemon, but not the background. It should have been something a little more calm, because it just doesn't go well with the Pokemon. But I am not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to dwell on it because I'll only feel worse. Oh no. But I wanted to keep this in the video anyway because, you know, it was going so well until I did that. And it's okay. It's okay if something like this happens. Maybe I'm coping. Who knows? But I added quite a few stars, also another regret of mine. I should have just kept it like minimal. Why am I adding more? Who knows? But you know what? It's alright. Mistakes happen. You gotta keep going. But yeah, thank you so much if you've watched this far into the video, and tell me what you think. I'll see you next week. Bye bye!